All right, everyone, welcome to the June 24th Council meeting for Shire of Wyndham East Kimberley, and we're in the Kununurra Council chambers. I'll declare the meeting open at 5:03. The declaration, members of the public are advised that recommendations to Council contained within this agenda and decisions arising from the Council meeting can be subject to alteration. Applicants and other interested parties should refrain from taking any action until such time as written advice is received confirming Council's decision with respect to any particular issue. Members of the public to please note that this meeting is being broadcast live and a video record will be made of these proceedings and published on the Shire's website. And I declared the meeting open at 5:03. Item 2 of the agenda is the record of attendance. There are 8 councillors in attendance and in person and 1 attending via Teams. In the room we have myself, Councillor Chafer, Councillor Deer, Councillor Harty, Councillor Kine, Councillor McNeil, Councillor Robinson and Councillor Timms. Attending via Teams is Councillor Gooding. We also have CEO Vernon Lawrence, Director Nick Allen, Director Alex Bell and Director Paul Webb. No apologies have been received and no leave of absence requests have been received. At item 3 of the agenda, declarations of interest, and I have 4, which I will go through. From Councillor Chafer at item 12.3.3, development application on River Farm Road, declares a financial interest as a director of Gilganium. Also we have CEO Vernon Lawrence at item 12.3.3, which is the same development application for River Farm Road, declares a proximity interest as the CEO is a tenant on the property, which is supplied to him as part of his total remuneration package. From Councillor Kine at item 16.1.1, tender T1924A, declares a financial interest as Northern Cleaning is 100% owned by the East Kimberley Services Group. And finally from Councillor Robinson at item 16.2, which is not going to be an item tonight as that's been withdrawn from the agenda. So we can ignore that one. Thank you. That's correct, isn't it, CEO? That was the item. And at item 4 of the agenda is public questions taken on notice, of which we have nil. Public question time, we have no one in the gallery and nothing received prior to the meeting. At item 6 is applications for leave of absence, and I have nil. At petitions at 7, I have nil. At 8, sorry. We good? At 7, petitions. We have nil. At 8, confirmation of the minutes. I will need to confirm the minutes of the last meeting. Where do I find the... looking for... is there any queries or questions on the minutes of the 27th of May? If not, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. If I could please, Councillor Harty and seconder Councillor Robinson. Against, all in favour. I can't see Councillor Gooding. Is there a reason for that? Otherwise I just need a verbal, please.
Yeah, no, I think I'm on the screen, but
I can't see you.
Got my hand up.
And my apologies, I've just lost my announcements sheet. Minute taker. Sorry, I might return to them at a later point. We'll move on to item 10, matters for which the meeting may be closed. At item 16.1, we have a request for tender T192425, the commercial cleaning services. And as previously mentioned, withdrawn from the agenda is item 16.2, a deed of assignment of lease and licence at Millington Drive. At 11, deputations and presentations, we have nil. Reports. Reports at 12.1, matters arising from committees of council, we have none. At 12.2, the Office of the CEO. We shall move to page 5 of the agenda, standing item 12.2.1. Outstanding actions from previous council resolutions. Do you have any queries or clarifications? Councillor Chafer.
Oh, yeah, I've got a couple, thanks. The 29 Boobiella Way disposal, it sounds like we're not going to get the price that we want for that property. So I'm just wondering, given there is a severe accommodation shortage in town, whether or not we could consider renting that property out?
Thanks, CEO.
Councillor Schaefer, yes, absolutely. We are busy with one of the estate agents in town to have a look at either tenant or a disposal. So that process is almost done. So we'll be able to bring something back to council fairly shortly.
And the next was, I did hear a very eloquent fella on the radio the other day talking about successfully disposing of the Columbury Road, but it is shown as an outstanding action on this list. I'm just wondering if it has been completed or if there's a process to go through yet.
Now, there's still a process to go through. While we got the letter that says that they will accept it, according to Main Roads regulations, is that the road has to meet certain criteria. So we're still getting funding for that road. Main Roads are performing the works on the road to bring it up to that standard. And once it meets that standard, Main Roads will then put it on their register.
Thank you.
And last but not least was the Wyndham landfill. I know we've been attempting to get Ballingarra to the table for the 8 years that I've been on council. And I'm just wondering whether or not we can reach a point where if they're, just not responding to us, whether or not we can just proceed. If there is another process through government, we can just go and proceed and do the work that needs to be done.
Yeah, Councillor Schaefer, we have had some recent success with being able to engage with Ballingarra. Approximately a month ago, just over a month ago, I met with their board, and they have asked me if I would come back to another meeting with them. So it was all about them asking me questions last time. Next time I engage with them, I can bring that up with them. So the lines of communication have improved. With regards to the landfill itself, we still have time. There's a number of works that we can be undertaking there that will make sure that we have got time before we have to actually critically do some infrastructure works there.
Thanks, CEO. Thanks, Councillor Chafer. Anything else? If not, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder for the outstanding actions. Councillor Chafer, Councillor McNeil. Against? All in favour? Thank you. That is, what are we up to? 9-0. Page 7 of the agenda at 12.2.2 is the standing item on the use of the common seal. Any queries, questions? Not looking for a mover and a seconder, if I could. Councillor Robinson, a seconder. Councillor Chafer. Against? All in favour? Thank you. 9-0. Page 9 of the agenda at item 12.2.3 is the change of dates of the ordinary council meeting for July and September due to travel and other local government business conflicts. Any queries on that? Otherwise, looking for
Dave, I just don't know whether in point B, whether we just need to add in that 30th of September 2025. Just for my agenda just says
Thank you.
30.
Yep. Thank you. I'm sure the minute taker can note that. A mover and seconder, if I could, please. Councillor McNeil, thank you. Councillor Chafer. Against? All in favour? 9-0. Thank you. Page 12 of the agenda, 12.2.4 is a new policy, policy 1022, unreasonable, vexatious or habitual complainants management. This is to align with current legislation, CEO.
Yes, Mr. President, councillors, in order for us to be able to declare somebody as a unreasonable complainant, we need to have a policy in place according to departmental guidelines. So this is really to put a process in place that should we encounter somebody that's particularly aggressive or wasting officer time, that we've got a process that we can follow to declare them an unreasonable complainant.
Thanks, CEO. I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Chafer, Councillor Deere. Against? All in favour? 9-0. Thank you. At page 15 of the agenda at 12.2.5 is the local government election for 2025 in October. The recommendation is there. Looking for a mover and a seconder if I could.
Just a
questions.
just a quick question.
Councillor Chafer first and then Councillor Robinson.
I did hear on the radio yesterday, I think, that about half the people in that organisation have either gone on holidays or are leaving the organisation. Do we envisage there's going to be any problems with holding these elections?
Thanks for the question. I did hear the same report and some were on extended leave, so it does leave me a little concerned of their capacity.
Yes, that would be of concern, councillors. But as an alternate, I'm not sure that we would, as an organisation, like to run that election on our own. I think that's fraught with a lot more problems than making it the problem of the Electoral Commission. My advice to council would still be let's go that route. We pay them a fee, we expect a service from them, and if they cannot provide the service, I think they need to explain to the state government why they can't provide that service that they mandated to provide us.
Thanks, CEO. Councillor Robinson.
Yeah, my question was pretty much in line with that, is that from previous experience, does the fee come with any expectation of service?
Thanks, Councillor Robinson. CEO.
Yes, the expectation of service is that they deliver the election according to what the regulations and the requirements of the Local Government Act require. So we don't have a separate detailed list of requirements. It's really basically what the Local Government Act requires to happen.
So if there are any additional costs because of shortcomings, are they borne by the council or are they borne by the Electoral Commission?
Councillor Robinson, the variable aspect to that will really just depend on whether there's any unforeseen complexities in the process. If, for instance, multiple objections, appeals, etc., that would take more time than would reasonably be expected. Other than something extraordinary like that happening, I'm past performance over the last 4 or 5 elections that we've had the Electoral Commission run, they've pretty much billed us exactly what they've quoted.
Thanks, CEO. Thanks for the question, Councillor Robinson. With that, no further. I'm looking for a mover and a seconder, if I could. Councillor Chafer, Councillor Robinson. Against? All in favour? 9-0. Thank you. At page 20 of the agenda, item 12.3, 12.3.1, Planning Community Development, Kununurra Water Ski Club event grant change of purpose. That has been fairly thoroughly discussed. Are there any other clarifications sought? Otherwise, looking for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Chafer, Councillor Hardy. Against? All in favour? 9-0. Thank you. At page 23, item 12.3.2, disposal of land portion of Reserve 33852, which is 34 Durack Road, Wyndham, for the purposes of a telecommunications network facility. Were there any clarifications? Thanks, Councillor Chafer.
Just not in the recommendation, but in the text below, says prior to the land being exercised in reserve, a stat deck would need to be completed to confirm the land will be transferred directly to the state government. I just want to confirm the only bit of land being transferred to the state government is the bit that they will be leasing and not the whole block.
Yeah, Councillor Schaefer, yes, it's only the bit that they're leasing, not the entire block.
Thanks, Councillor. Thanks, CEO. Any others?
Just in the briefing, it was requested that it be shifted to the corner of the block so we could actually increase the usability of that land in the future. I was just curious why that hadn't been updated.
Thanks, Councillor Harding. Director Allen, maybe.
That conversation was had with the potential leasees, and they were very adamant that this is the parcel of land that they wanted it not to be moved. There is opportunity when once the DA application comes through that discussion is had then, but for the initial parcel of land to be leased, this is the block that they preferred, or this is the format of the block that they preferred.
Would you like a follow-up on that one, or I will? So, is it obvious that it causes any particular inconvenience to the future use of that block, excising that bit for lease?
Not that I'm aware of, but I would have to take that on notice to check with the planners who have been dealing with this directly, but not that they've raised with me.
All right. So you're saying that we could agree to lease them a portion of land, and the final portion could still be
Could still change.
still change. So we could progress.
Yes.
All right. Councillors, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. If there was anyone who'd like to, Councillor Hardy, and a second, Councillor Chafer. Thank you. Against? All in favour? Thanks, Jeff. 9-0. At page 26, item 12.3.3, development application, River Farm Road. I think we might be losing a couple of members of council. CEO and Deputy Shire President. CEO on the basis of proximity, and Deputy Shire President Chafer on the basis of being a director of Galganium. So at page 26, item 12.3.3, the development application for River Farm Road. Any clarifications or further clarifications sought on that from, thank you, Councillor Robinson.
So I sent through a request for just information to the CEO, and I haven't had a written response prior to the meeting, and I'm assuming I didn't get one because he has a proximity interest. So do I ask the question now as, on the floor?
I would think so. It may be that the CEO, if it's not that, it would be because he's been ill and not been able to attend to it, but
Okay.
he's usually
So
pretty good on that.
okay. So can I ask the question?
Ask
Yep.
the question,
Right,
yeah.
So it was relating to the just in light of the in light of the feedback from the neighbours. I just wondered if the all the dwellings, all the infrastructure are compliant on the block and are approved.
Thank you. I do remember seeing that. Director Allen, could you be... question without notice, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's something that I haven't seen. I would have to check with our building surveyor to ensure that they're all compliant and been approved under her records.
Current buildings we're talking about.
Yeah. That may be a pretty high bar in this Shire. But I understand the
My
question.
concern was that in reading all the comments that were put and itemised out, it just seems that there is a lot of historical previous issues that have on this property, and I just thought that it might be an opportunity for council to ensure that the property is compliant and that the feedback is addressed adequately by making sure that the property is fully compliant, and that whilst we have a DA application, that we can be a condition of the application that the property is, as part of the DA, be fully compliant.
Yeah, thanks for the question, councillor. I would not be in possession of enough knowledge to answer comprehensively, but I would be concerned that it wouldn't be something you'd want to do all around the Shire. Councillor Gooding has his hand up. Councillor Gooding, you're on mute. Jeff, you're on mute. Thank you. Can you?
Apologies.
Thank you.
Look, if, I hear the point that Councillor Robinson's making. I don't disagree with it, but you'd want to be consistent, I would have thought, on this issue. So, if we're contemplating adding the same requirement to all DAs, I think that's something that we ought to think about. Otherwise, I'd be a bit concerned about just applying it to one.
Thanks, Councillor Gooding. I'm not in an official debate at the moment, but happy to air concerns at the moment.
I think just my query was on, I think previous around that, the previous briefing, I think there was a separate, to Jeff's point, there was a separation of
Ownership.
of kind of under the DA process versus other inspection requirements or something. So I think that was my understanding of where it got to, which made me comfortable with it.
Yeah.
A follow-up question.
Thanks.
Does the
Councillor
officer
Thompson.
believe that all the concerns that are raised in the two objections are adequately addressed?
Thanks, Councillor Robinson. That one might be a better format for Director Allen.
Yes. So against the current scheme, the everything that is proposed within the application meets requirements, and there's the objections that came up from the neighbours, the Shire officers feel have been adequately addressed, and the DA can be approved.
Thanks, Director Allen. I'm going to move on to the recommendation and look for a mover and a seconder and see where we proceed from there. I think. Do I have a mover for the motion? Otherwise, I'm happy to move. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hardy. Against? All in favour? That would be all hands up, which is 8-0. Thank you, and I think we can gather in our other councillor and CEO. Thank you, councillors. Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Schaefer and CEO. After some clarifications, the vote moved by myself, seconded Councillor Harty, proceeded 8-0 in favour.
Thank you.
Right. Sorry, I have not prepared for this one, but I did find. Are we ready to proceed with this one? Item page 33 of the agenda at 12.4 is corporate services. 12.4.1 is the Audit, Finance and Risk Committee representatives. So with the that's the explanation with the change of legislation. CEO, you can address
Yes,
this one, please.
President. Yes, with the change in legislation is that we need to just change a couple of the names and, instead of having a chair of the audit committee, we now need a presiding member and a deputy presiding member and representative. So this is really to formalise that. We didn't want to presume that council, a decision has already been made by council, so no names have been put into those positions as yet, so into the resolution as yet. So if councillors would like to nominate a presiding member, deputy presiding member and representative with a proxy at this stage, then we can vote on the motion. At this point in time, we have Councillor Robinson, who's the chair of the audit committee. Deputy is Councillor Harty. Am I correct in saying that? Or was it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Councillor Hardy. We have Councillor Chafer as the member, and proxy is Councillor Kine.
I would like to suggest if all those people were would accept a nomination or were willing to stand in those positions, that we vote according to that, unless there are any other councillors that would like to nominate anyone else.
So then from the officer recommendation point of view, then I would have this presiding member would be Councillor Robinson, deputy presiding member would be Councillor Harty, representative would be Councillor Schaefer, and then the proxy will be Councillor Kine.
And CEO, how long will is this committee in place? Is this just until post the next local government elections in October?
In October, then the first council meeting after the appointment of new councillors, we will re-elect to these portfolios.
So I'm happy to move that.
Seconded.
Seconded, Councillor Gooding. Against, all in favour? 9-0. Thank you all, and thank you for your service on that committee. We'll move on to page 36 of the agenda. At item 12.4.2 is marked as the annual budget for 25-26. CEO, I think you'd like to speak to us regarding where we're at with that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Councillors, I sent out an email a little bit earlier today as part of answering some councillor questions around the budget. In that email, I did say that we have not received ministerial approval as yet for our rates. There has been a bit of a delay in the process. We submitted our application. When we followed up just prior to the issuing of the agenda, we were told that our application had not been sent. We had evidence that it had been sent. We resubmitted it. We checked to see whether they received it after that, and they said no, they had not received it. It appears to be an issue with a firewall, and anyhow, they have our application now. They are assessing it. We will know on by Friday the 27th as when they'll be able to provide us with a decision. I'm relatively confident we'll have a decision by Friday the 27th. And should we have that decision, I will request of the Shire President if we can have a special council meeting on Monday the 30th of June to approve the budget. So that's where we are at the moment with the thing. Happy for councillors to continue asking me any questions related to the content of the budget between now and the time we bring it back to council.
Thanks, CEO. Unfortunate. Is there any, on a positive note, is there any attempts at addressing an issue with the firewall, or is there anything that they can do about that?
We have our IT consultants in town at the moment. My understanding is it doesn't appear to be on our side. We've submitted it twice. We've had 2 messages that have come back to say received. So it's been received on their side, but somehow it's not getting into their system. So I'm pretty confident it left us, and it might be the firewall on their side.
Okay, all right. Well, look, sounds like it's being dealt with, and hopefully we'll hear something on Friday. Thanks, CEO. Councillor Deere?
Just one comment of the dates on Officer Recommendation number 7, if they could be updated. I think it's should say effective from 1st of July 25 or January 26.
This relates to the budget recommendation. So someone take note on that. Thank you. Okay, thanks, Councillor Deere. With that, so we'll withdraw that item and hopefully attend to it. We can get information and call a special meeting Monday, hopefully. I imagine that could be a fairly short meeting. Page 56 of the agenda at 4.3 is the list of the accounts paid from the municipal fund and the trust fund. Any questions or clarifications sought on that one?
Dave,
Thanks, Councillor McNeil.
Director Bell, I was just wondering, I feel like in the descriptions are being significantly reduced. Previously, I felt like I was able to read the descriptions and get an idea of where that money was being spent or what on. As an example, I think there's one from Mills Oakley that's for advice, council advice, but just doesn't provide any summary on what that advice is for. And that applied to a lot of them. So just is there a reason why their descriptions have been reduced? And if so, could we get it back the other way, have the descriptions a bit more detail if possible?
Yeah, we can certainly change it back to how it is. It's been reduced because it's more in line with with the requirements of the Act. So and the workload for the finance team. So
and I guess that's just my view. I shouldn't yet maybe open to council, but I guess then I've got probably more questions about what's that spent on or what was that for? Or so yeah, Mills Oakley. $18,000 maybe off the top of my head. What was that for? What advice was that for?
Thanks, Councillor
I think I can-
McNeil. I think very important questions as to what our money is spent on.
So normally, Councillor McNeil is with legal advice of that sort of sum. It might be 1 or 2 different items, but in the recent couple of months, we've had a number of HR issues that have gone through Mills Oakley, as well as advice around contracts and awarding of contracts. Once a tender gets to a certain threshold, then we're required in terms of our procurement policy to seek legal advice. So prior to signing it. So yeah, it could be any one of those. That specific one, we can find out and let councillors know.
Yeah, that's fine. It was just that it had, advice for council opposed to probably SWEC, I guess. That was like, what was that particularly directed for? Something for us. But yeah, I guess my general comment is, and as I said, it's open to the floor whether other councillors agree, disagree. But for me personally, I would like that detail put back in just so for more clarity and potentially some asking a lot less questions when it comes to council briefing, but open to other suggestions.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor McNeil. And I think we can take as many questions as we can at a council briefing so we fully understand where our money's travelling. So, but we might defer this to a council briefing for further discussion. Thanks. Good point. If there's no further clarification sorted, item 12.4.3, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder, if I could. Councillor Deere. And seconded, Councillor McNeil. Against, all in favour. Thank you. 9-0. At page 59 of the agenda at item 12.4.4 is the monthly financial report. Any clarifications sought? If not, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder, if I could, Councillor Robinson. And a seconder, if I could, Councillor Hardy. Against, all in favour. 9-0. At 12.5, infrastructure's got nothing to offer? No, apologies, that was rude. Infrastructure's been too busy. They have no business on the agenda. At item 13, motions of which previous notice has been given. And I'm going to do announcements before we go behind closed doors. At item 13, motions of which previous notice has been given. We have nil. Questions by members of which due notice has been given. We have nil. And urgent business approved by myself. I have, or by decision, and I'm not seeing anything. So nil. Before we go to item 16, I'm going to return to item 9, minute taker. I've just found my, sorry, I didn't see the printed one, but I'll just give the announcements for the previous month. 3rd to the 5th of June with a series of forums for the revitalisation projects attended by Councillor Gooding, representing the Shire President, CEO, Directors and Staff. On the 6th of June was our YYN Youth Group Friday Reference Group, attended by myself and the CEO. 9th of June, Kimberley Development Commission, we met in Derby and attended by myself. June the 10th, Australian Citizenship Ceremony, attended by myself and the CEO. The 17th of June was our Wyndham meet and greet, attended by myself, Councillor Hardy, Councillor McNeil, Councillor Timms, Director of Planning Community Development, Director of Infrastructure and the CEO. On the 18th of June was the Water Corporation Grants Awards, attended by myself and the CEO and the Shire's Community Development Officer. On the 20th of June was Kimberley Zone meeting, which was a fairly brief meeting to deal with Walgett-type zone matters, attended by myself, the Deputy Shire President and the CEO. Also on the 20th of June was the YYN Friday Reference Group meeting, attended by myself, and unfortunately our CEO was too ill to attend. Also on the 20th of June was the State Budget Sundowner, attended by our State Minister for Regional Development and our local Kimberley Member of Parliament, Davina Diana, which is most important. Also attended by myself, Deputy Shire President Chafer, Councillor Deere, Councillor Gooding and Shire officers. And it was great to finally get inside the Cambridge. So that was the month that was. Thank you. And with that, I will move to, so just a reminder, at item 16.1, there was 2 items listed on the agenda. We will not be dealing with 16.2, that's been withdrawn, but we will deal with 16.1, the request for tender. So I would like to move that we go behind closed doors. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Robinson, and the time being 17:41. Could we lock the doors, clear the gallery, and cut? Sorry. Oh, and anyone against? All in favour? 9-0. Right. Thank you. And now we can stop the streaming. Clear the gallery of 0.
9-0 for them coming back out of camera, is that correct?
No, because I do that before the other person comes back in the room. Oh, I would have thought.
Decision has already been made. So the decision has been made.
Oh, yes, the
Yeah,
person comes back
there
in.
should be
Thank
9-0.
you.
Yep.
Gee, don't get away with anything here. So 9-0, thanks, Bo. We're back on. Thank you, welcome back. At 16.1 behind closed doors, request for tender T19 2425, the commercial cleaning services. The officer's recommendation was that Council 1 accept the tender submitted by Kununurra Cleaning Services Proprietary Limited of Bull Run Road, Kununurra, WA 6743 for tender T19 2425 Part A Kununurra Service Area for the fixed lump sum price of $204,680 per annum, excluding GST, for a 3-year contract period from the 1st of August 25 to the 31st of July 28. 2. Accept the tender submitted by Kununurra Cleaning Services Proprietary Limited of Bull Run Road, Kununurra, WA 6743 for tender T19 2425 Part B Wyndham Service Area for the fixed lump sum price of $132,560 per annum, excluding GST, for a 3-year contract period from 1st of August 25 to 31st of July 2028. 3. Enter a contract with Kununurra Cleaning Services Proprietary Limited of Bull Run Road, Kununurra, WA 6743 for tender T19 2425 Part A Kununurra Service Area for the provision of contract requirements for a 3-year period, 1st of August 2025 to 31st of July 2028. Enter a contract, and at 4, enter a contract with Kununurra Cleaning Service Proprietary Limited of Bull Run Road, Kununurra, WA 6743 for tender T19 2425 Part B Wyndham Service Area for the provision of contract requirements for a 3-year period from 1st of August 25 to 31st of July 28. 5. Delegates the formation and execution of the contracts to the Chief Executive Officer. And 6, authorises the Chief Executive Officer to approve the 3 possible successions of 12-month extension terms following the cessation of the initial 3-year contract term, providing appointed panel members have demonstrated satisfactory contract performance. The item was carried 8-0 with Councillor Kine being absent due to a financial interest. Thank you all. And that is the last item on the agenda. Thank you all for your attendance and diligence, and I'd like to declare the meeting closed at 17:50.
Thank you, councillors.